Hey everybody, so I'm back and I'm just showing just an update a little bit on my cabin and where I'm at. This is sort of, I ended up, since the last time I showed this, I believe I ended up putting more wood around the whole thing on the first level, and I built the roof as well. And so, let's see here. So this is the roof so far. I still have to put this board up in here on both sides. I obviously have to finish the top of the roof. I did elect actually to put wood around the base, where before I actually had just plaster and carved into bricks. I had, as you saw last time, where some of the plaster broke away, and I kind of worried about that all along, but I ended up just deciding, rather than repairing it, of just putting a wood rim around it. I think if I wanted to have brickwork underneath, I think what I would end up doing is either using a harder type of substrate, like instead of plaster, I might consider using like a hardened epoxy. So something like maybe milliput or green stuff I might try. Although I kind of thought doing green stuff, I wasn't sure, you know, with just the amount that you do, whether that's really an economical way of doing it. The other thing I was thinking of just using a thick plastic card, and I think Tristan and his channel, I think he made all of his walls with a really thick plastic card. I actually have trouble finding that stuff, like to get it any like something like greater than 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch, like in that area of size. I found a lot of difficulty sourcing it. There is like an industrial plastics place that I never went down to that might have it in my area, and so I might go over there and look at it for future projects. But I think for the chimney, the plaster works quite well, and I'm not worried about it because there's not a whole lot of wear and tear. And I will end up putting coatings of things on this, like protectants, both paint and varnishes and things. As far as the inside, you know, I don't have anything special to hold this on. I'm not sure, like the roof itself holds it on in the back here. I might put some inserts to basically hold it on, or I might not. I'm not sure. But on the inside, I have a bit of a fireplace going on. I do have a door that I have made where I sculpted a handle on it, and it's drying right now. But what I'll end up doing is, my plan is, after I finish the roof, is to paint it, both the interior and exterior, and then I'm just going to use like a spray paint, and then essentially I will do the floor afterwards. And I want to have the floor be lighter than the outside, where the outside is going to be dark. It'll be a natural wood on the inside. I was debating whether to use just the regular coffee stick, you know, natural wood color, which would be something like this. But what I kind of elected to do is I did a little test, and I just took some various varnishes that I have, and in the middle there's nothing here. Basically, this is soft tone from Quick Shade, and this is dark tone. I didn't really like the way those came out. I mean, they just sort of darken the wood a little bit. This is Agrax Earth Shade, and I think it actually makes a nice, I guess, walnut sort of dark espresso kind of look, but that's not what I'm going for. I mean, that's kind of not going to contrast with the outside and the interior dark walls the way I want. But this is it is Seraphim Sepia is what this is, by Citadel, and it actually is a really nice orangey lighter color. And so I think I'm going to actually do this for the floor and the inside, stain it with this. Typically, as a rule, I try not to use miniature paints and materials for terrain, because terrain, one, is, you know, much larger, and those materials tend to be fairly expensive, and because you're using them on small things, you know, I think that it's not as bad. But when you start getting into working with large terrain, I tend to use craft grade stuff or industrial. And so I'm actually breaking that rule when it comes to this flooring in here. I'm actually going to use the Seraphim Sepia because I have it and I like the result, and I don't think it'll take the whole bottle up by any means. But certainly for the paint that I use for the rest of it, it's going to be a craft kind of paint, regular spray paint kind of thing, because yeah, I don't like to use my miniature materials on terrain. So that's just that's sort of a general rule I have. I just think you can get really good results with craft related products for terrain. In my experience, there's no reason to be using really richly pigmented, expensive, specialized paints on them. So yeah, so this is kind of where I'm at with this. I was kind of happy with the progress that I got today on this. I also put a little window pane in there too, a little board to signify a window pane. And so yeah, that's where it's at, and pretty glad that I did this. I mean, because it's it's going to be a nice little house for Musket and Tomahawk, and I guess the money that I'm saving by not spending on a building, I might be able to get an extra kit potentially, depending on how big this was supposed to be, or something like that of miniatures. And so there you go. And maybe it'll end up having a little bit more of a rustic look to it because I put it together, and not an expert, but maybe it'll look closer to something built in the middle of the woods by the time I'm done with it. So other than that, that's my only update for the moment. So hope everybody's having a good weekend. Take care.